Hi, everyone. My name is Shannon Austin, and I'm an Insights and Research Lead for Australia here at Pinterest.
And I'm Amy, Creative Strategy Lead. We are so glad you're joining us today. A few housekeeping notes before we dive in. First, we are recording this webinar, and you'll be able to find the recording on our Pinterest Business YouTube channel next week. And finally, when you exit the webinar, a 5-question survey will pop up. We'd really appreciate you spending 90 seconds filling that out so we can learn how to make future webinars even better. Plus, if you fill it out, we'll provide a link to download our slides from today. Call it a win-win. Things are changing day by day, hour by hour. Sometimes just getting dinner on the table feels like a huge win. Other times, we're looking for new ways to connect with our loved ones or for inspiration for how to make the world a better place. We don't know what the future may hold, but what we do know is that people are using Pinterest in increasingly interesting ways to make their todays just a little brighter. What you see here are real board titles, from embracing being home to comforting children to connecting in new ways. There's one human truth that underscores all of this: that people are resilient, we're creative, we're industrious, we're coping with the day-to-day and looking for ways to find new ideas for work, home, family, school, meals, celebration, and even fashion. It's literally a new world, and people are looking for ways to make the best of it. They're embracing new self-care routines. They're keeping loved ones busy and healthy, and they're maintaining connections with their communities. As people seek to become resilient, more creative, and stronger, many are turning to Pinterest. And we're honored to be that home of inspiration, the place where people go to look for that spark. We're seeing global all-time highs in engagement on the platform since the COVID-19 outbreak, as people seek ideas to help them get through this upheaval of daily life. We're also seeking engagement in many different forms. They're actively searching, signaling an open mind and a desire for information. They're saving the content they discover, indicating that they want to revisit and take action on the ideas they find. And finally, they're creating new boards, which we see as an indication that people are creating new habits and exploring new things. And since the crisis started, we've seen new signups and saves are up about 40% year on year. Searches were up about 60% year on year, and record new board creation, 60% more than the same time last year. And also, interestingly, people are visiting boards. They're going to other users' profiles and exploring an entire board more than ever before on Pinterest. They want inspiration from others. People representing every demographic are coming to Pinterest to find their next great idea. We have over 367 million people coming to the platform every month. Key audiences like moms, dads, millennial men, and millennial women. And unlike other platforms, Pinterest occupies a unique space. It's where people to go to plan for their future rather than just scrolling through posts of what happened yesterday. It's where they go to discover a spark of inspiration, some emotional energy, which is more important now than ever before. And it can be something small, like a way to make pasta just a little bit more interesting tonight for dinner, or something big, like dreaming about your next holiday when we can travel freely again. We're all experiencing a bit of a reset right now, but that doesn't have to change the way people are using Pinterest to get inspired and make decisions. And on Pinterest, brands have such a unique opportunity to guide those decisions. People on Pinterest are hungry for inspiration. They're also coming here with intention. They want to integrate new ideas into their lives in a really real way. And what's unique to Pinterest is that all of these ideas so often come from brands like yours. You're critical to the user experience, and pinners return the favor. We're really excited today to share some insights and recommendations to help you do just that. Users come to the platform to plan for their projects for today, but also for tomorrow. While in mid-March, we've seen a significant drop in searches for future projects and future inspiration, as of early April, we've started to see a rise again in future planning. an indication that pinners are seeking for hopeful and optimistic content. This is a confusing time for sure. However, based on emerging behaviors and search trends on Pinterest, there are 4 important stages to consider as you're planning or replanning how your brand shows up in the era of COVID-19. All around the world, there are people living in each one of these phases. While we believe many people in Australia are in phase 3 and the beginning of phase 4, we'll be touching on data from all of these phases throughout the presentation. And as each of us are living, these phases aren't strictly time-bound, and depending on what the future holds, they might not be linear. But they do give us a guide of some of the evolving emotions we are collectively facing right now. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Shannon as we dive into the data.
Thanks so much, Amy. We want to spend some more time today unpacking these evolving emotions. Through our research, we identified 3 key emotional need states. I want to talk about each of these need states and how they've changed as the COVID-19 situation has changed. Then I'm going to pass it back to Amy, who's going to share some more creative examples from brands, as well as some actionable ideas for how you can stay relevant on Pinterest as things slowly ease into a new normal in Australia. All right, so let's get into it. People are coming to Pinterest for solutions, of course, but they are also coming here for solace. This is really true at all times, but it has been particularly true during the past few months. People are looking for needed sparks of inspiration and ideas to help them navigate their new routines and to help them thrive at an emotional level. They need to laugh, to cry, to plan. And throughout all of this, what we are seeing is that people really need to care. They need to care for themselves and care for others. We found that people are turning to Pinterest to stay inspired by meeting 3 key care need states. The first need state is me. We see that pinners need to care for themselves and keep themselves whole. This need state focuses around how we are finding self-care rituals and other ways of keeping our minds and emotions healthy. Secondly, we see that pinners need to care for and protect the ones they're living with. And last, but definitely not least, us. Pinners need to care for and support their community and their loved ones who are beyond their 4 walls. Okay, so here's how we did it. We've taken a holistic view of user behavior, taking into account all the different signals of intent pinners exhibit when they come to Pinterest. We've looked at searches, we've looked at board names, and other actions that pinners are taking on Pinterest. We've also included some pinner perspectives captured through one-on-one interviews, as well as some research on the COVID-19 situation from Global Web Index. Now, before we look at each of the 3 care need states separately, I wanted to show you the relative share of search volume across these 3 states from the start of March to mid-May. Keep in mind that people move across these 3 states depending on the moment and their mood. And the search volume across all 3 states has had double-digit growth over the past few months. Okay, so let's start by talking about me. It's the need state with the largest share of searches on Pinterest right now. Me, it's all about this need to care for and keep myself whole. Something many of us realized as the COVID-19 situation escalated was that we really had to check in with ourselves. People turn to Pinterest to find and embrace new self-care rituals that keep their minds and emotions healthy, to keep them feeling sane and to keep them feeling like a whole, complete person. People on Pinterest are looking to stay positive and grounded amidst uncertainty. People are continually coming to Pinterest for support. They're looking for tips to stay healthy physically and also emotionally. Like this quote here from Tabby, for example, who's a Pinterest user who is planning to plant a garden to help with her mental health. In March, when COVID was declared a global pandemic, we saw a 140% increase in searches for positive quotes as people look to stay optimistic. But what's really interesting to me is that now, as restrictions are softening and a new normalcy is settling in, people are continuing to look for positive quotes. We saw in May, there's been a 42% increase in searches for positivity quotes. People are continuing to look for positivity reminders as they start to establish new routines with the restrictions easing up in Australia. Searches for stress relief have increased around the world. And I want to add a note here that on mobile devices, these searches on Pinterest trigger our compassionate search tool, which offers evidence-based exercises developed by Stanford psychiatrists for people who want to feel better. What we're seeing on the platform is that people have been looking for real, tangible ways to alleviate stress and combat anxiety. They've been looking for stress relievers like physical activity, journaling, and creating optimized workspaces that will help them be more productive. On the other hand, sometimes it's not about practical stress relief. Sometimes you just need to treat yourself and indulge. As people look for comfort, we saw an increase in searches for things like at-home cocktails, movie nights in, and baking. And I know for me personally, over the past couple months, I've tried a ton of new baking recipes and dishes. Some of my kitchen ventures were successful and others not so much, like my yeastless naan bread, which I've got to say turned out more like a doughy pancake. So even though I've had some Pinterest wins and some Pinterest fails, I've learned some new kitchen skills and I've had a lot of fun throughout all of it. Now that restrictions are softening and people are starting to do more activities outside of their homes, we see people are wanting to put their best foot forward. And that means taking the time to care about their outfit choices in a different way. Over the past few months, as people were advised to stay home, we saw increases in searches for loungewear, tie-dye, and all clothes comfy. Now, people are starting to look for things like professional outfits, indicating they want to have that look good to feel good mentality as they return to their workplace. And everyone, I have to say, having this webinar today has given me the inspiration to put on proper clothes, and it's been really nice. So thank you for motivating me to get out of my joggers. So we've covered the new form me time has taken and how people have been caring for themselves throughout the pandemic. Now we want to shed some light on how people on Pinterest have been finding ideas and inspiration to help the ones they've been closest to throughout all of this, the people that they live with. For those of us who have been at home with others, hunkered down together in one space, spending more time together than usual, we've become acutely aware of how one person's emotional state can impact the whole clan. Pinners have been looking for loving distractions for their families to find activities and ways to keep those around them sane and entertained. We've all been spending a lot more time at home over the past few months, and in order to make our days and the days of those around us as comfortable as possible, we've looked for new ways to spruce up our space. In March, we saw a spike in home maintenance searches as people fixed different issues that they had or reconfigured rooms to serve a new purpose. What's up? New home office. But then in April, we started to see searches for room decor and backyard projects rise as people created their own oasis at their homes, both indoors and in their outdoor spaces too. Like Ryan, a pinner from Melbourne, who we're going to hear a little bit more from right now.
Hi everyone, my name's Ryan from Melbourne, Australia. And much like a lot of people, the plans that I had to be pivoted. So rather than move to Paris, we decided to, start renovating our apartment with a little bit of Parisian flair and make it, the happiest place on earth. So happiness for us is surrounding ourselves with, prints and colors and patterns, all the things that make us happy in life. And Pinterest has really been the portal for all of those things, a place of discovery and excitement. I kind of think of, Pinterest and pins as, vision boards. If I pin it, it will come, it will happen. It's a manifestation. And I can honestly say that without Pinterest, our life would be a lot less colorful.
Caring for our homes during this time has also been a way to care for everyone living under the same roof. As we all know, parents have had a lot on their plates trying to keep their jobs while keeping their kids busy, engaged, educated, and also distracted. Seriously, hats off to all the parents out there for doing an amazing juggling act these past few months. We saw pinners looking for ways to help them with this juggling act, all while maintaining some kind of schedule and order. And now that schools are reopening and it's back to class for many students, we're seeing people looking for help to make this transition as smooth as possible. The increases in searches for school hairstyles, morning routines, and also the pins for school lunch ideas show that parents want to make sure this is a smooth transition for their kids. And I don't know about you, but from the parents I've talked to, the return to class is a very exciting development as they've realized over these past few months that they may not, in fact, be cut out for a career in teaching. Good news, the recent increase in searches for teacher outfits and classroom decor indicate that educators also want to make sure that heading back to school is a nice experience for everyone. The last care need state we want to talk about is us. As we've all had to reimagine our priorities and reinvent our routines, one thing has become abundantly clear. The situation that we are in is bigger than any one of us, and we are all in this together. Beyond keeping our loved ones safe and happy, people are turning to Pinterest for more than just themselves and those they're closest with. They're coming to the platform for inspiration to help them connect with and support their local community and the loved ones who are beyond their four walls. They say that absence makes the heart grow fonder. What we see on Pinterest is that with social distancing rules in place, people have been looking for new ways to show their love to their friends and to their family. At the end of April, this meant looking for things like virtual celebration ideas or things like at-home card ideas. Now, as we're into May and gatherings are allowed again, we're seeing people look for ideas of how they can get together once again, but in safe and in fun ways. So we're seeing things like searches for picnics and backyard parties increasing. Not only are people looking to show that they care about the friends and the family members that they've been distanced from, they are also wanting to connect with their broader community in new ways. From ideas of how to rally their community to creating boards for supporting local businesses, Pinners really want to show their support for their community. Throughout this experience, people have been able to explore their neighborhoods in many new ways with things like treasure hunts or scavenger hunts and backyard camping. They've also looked for ways to share hope and encouragement with others throughout this with things like rainbow crafts, a search that we saw climb in Australia and also around the world. I know here in Toronto, I've seen all kinds of different window displays with positive messages and bright rainbow sidewalk chalk artwork. And I wonder what kind of crafted signs of hope you've been seeing in your neighborhood too. And while Pinners have been staying close to home, that doesn't mean that they've stopped dreaming about where their next adventure will take them. Global Web Index data shows that for 31% of Pinners, booking a trip will be one of the first major purchases that they make after the pandemic. But how they travel and where they go may look a little different. 82% of Pinners say that they'll make some changes to the way that they travel after the pandemic ends. Now, our data shows that people have been thinking about trips and looking for inspiration to help them plan out what that first vacation after the pandemic will look like. So now I'm going to turn it back over to Amy, who is going to take us through some creative recommendations for ways to take action in each of these care need states. Over to you, Amy.
Thanks, Shannon. So we just shared 3 ways that people are turning to Pinterest to stay inspired by meeting 3 key care need states: me, we, and us. And as we said at the beginning, our goal is to provide you not only with insights, but pair them with actionable ideas that your brands can take and build upon to meet consumer needs right now. Simply think of these ideas as jumping off points for content creation, either organically or integrated into paid advertising that you already may be doing or looking to do. More often than not, you can simply include subtle tweaks to existing assets, like adding a text overlay or ensuring cohesion between image, content, and the trends we went over today. And as always, trust the insights, like Shannon said. Cool. So let's dive into some of the ideas. First up, me. In changing times, people need to care for themselves and keep themselves whole. And brands like yours can help them meet this need and make inspired decisions around it. Our creative strategy team pulled together the following recommendations for brands looking to create pins that offer people simple ideas for self care. Like this pin on the right, a beauty brand can share ideas that offer simple solutions for how pinners can pamper themselves at home without having to step foot in a salon or a spa. Going a bit further, you can provide step-by-step instructions for an at-home facial or provide tips for an at-home mani-pedi. Leverage video for content like this, where we're seeing nearly a 220% increase in video views versus this time last year. For food and beverage brands, now is the time to lean into accessible creative ideas and alternate use cases. Think dessert ideas that are easy to make and even more fun to decorate. Show how your product can be used as an ingredient, or show your twist on a classic recipe to open their eyes to new possibilities. And if you're a fitness or CPG brand, help them or me by showing how to unwind with an exercise routine or a meditation practice. A fitness brand can provide tips for setting up an at-home gym, while a CPG brand may have some fun and show how to use their product in place of dumbbells. I know, living in a small cramped flat myself, I've definitely had to get creative with my own daily workouts. Second up, we have we. Ultimately, people are looking for ways to keep themselves and the loved ones they have both busy and distracted. They need new ways to be together and make the most of these shared moments. Here are some ideas to help pinners keep the entire family entertained, educated, and distracted. With so many families spending more time at home than normal, many will be seeking ways to increase the fun, especially for children. Food and beverage brands can help parents turn their kids into sous chefs with simple recipes they can participate in or recreate. Here you can leverage video to show baking tips or step-by-step instructions for the kids to follow along and get creative with food decorations. My husband and I actually recently made some amazing zucchini muffins. And just to play that out, a flour or dairy company, a grocer, a restaurant, or a baking tin or chocolate chip manufacturer, all of these businesses have credibility and the opportunity to be a spark for a simple but meaningful idea like this. Another idea is to inspire pinners to host a virtual party that'll be fun for friends and family alike. Whether it's pro tips for setting up the best Wi-Fi or finding products and games to actually connect with your friends, provide pinners with easy ways to interact and stay engaged during this stressful time. Also, entertaining and even educating kids is more important and difficult than ever. What if your brand helped transport the family maybe somewhere else with virtual tours of locations, museums, or even zoos? Travel brands can highlight unique destinations to visit virtually, and tech brands can offer the products they need to explore them. Last up is us. To capture the hearts and minds of those looking beyond themselves and their communities, brands can help them discover easy, fun, and effective ways that they can help or thank others, both locally and globally. Here are just a few examples. Many people are looking for ways to support local and/or small businesses. Create pins that actually show ways to do this. A local restaurant can share recommended wine pairings for their delivery menu, while retailers might highlight products that are locally sourced or made by small businesses. Pinners are still looking for ways to come together and interact as a community, but still at a distance, even for now. For example, what about an epic neighborhood scavenger hunt that Shannon mentioned with a small group? An entertainment brand can also use characters from a film or a TV show to create themed hunts, or travel brands, for instance, can inspire pinners with local and city-specific places to visit outside. We also see a lot of pinners wanting to show gratitude to people absolutely everywhere. Help them by promoting gifting content, from editorial ideas to popular products. Pins that feature product bundles or simple gift cards can actually help them find the perfect idea. Think gratitude gifts under $50 or feel-good care packages like this pin on the right. And as you take your next steps to create assets that help inspire across each of these need states, as we discussed today, here we are sharing the 5 dimensions of inspiration. And think of these as guiding principles to get in the pinner mindset, where they want to discover something new that's relevant for their life, that's beautiful and engaging, and that makes them feel good and know how to take action. Without a doubt, things are still fairly uncertain, but consumers and brands alike are starting to look to the future and be a lot more optimistic. While we don't know when our lives will fully return to normal, what we do know is that people are resilient and will always be looking to create the life they love, no matter their circumstances. The unique relationship between pinners and brands is a great place to start. Inspiration is a fundamental human need. Whether focusing on the me, on the we, or on the us, there's an exploration, a celebration, and glimpse into humanity happening on the platform today. We're seeing people embrace the little things like more family dinners and finding new avenues to show gratitude to loved ones and their community. We're all in this together, and people are coming to Pinterest now more than ever, looking for that spark or little lift. Your brand has a real opportunity to be the idea that brings that spark to life.
So I'll leave you with this. We're seeing over a 300% increase in searches for sending love and hugs since this time last year. And I'd like to close by sending just that to you and yours. Thank you so much for your time today. Please be sure to fill out our 30-second survey when you exit GoToWebinar. If you fill it out, we'll provide you with a link to download our slides from today. Thanks.